Hello everyone, welcome to SI-UK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with the University of Abertay. Today we have with us Emma and Finn, who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start. Over to you, Emma.
Thanks very much. Hi, everyone. As we've been introduced already, my name's Emma. I am within the international office at Abertay, and I'm joined by my colleague today. So welcome to this webinar about Abertay's postgraduate technology programmes. Today, we're going to give you a bit of an introduction to Abertay and studying the technology focused programmes with us. So what we're going to cover is some detail about our School of Design and Informatics and the master's programmes that we offer within this area, as well as some more general information about the university. So we will talk a bit about entry requirements, about fees and scholarships, as well as Dundee, the city we're based in. And we're happy to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. So please do put them in the chat and we will come to them at the end. Over to Finn.
Thanks, Emma. My name is Finn. I am also in the international team here at Abertay University. I'm an international officer, but that means that I cover all of South Asia. So any students that are here today, you will be working directly with SI-UK session. I would be very happy to answer for you. So let's get started. We are a small and friendly university based in the city of Dundee in Scotland. We're on the east coast of Dundee, on the east coast of Scotland. So just to set the tone of where we are, we're renowned for our courses in computer games programming, design and arts, as well as our specialist courses in cybersecurity. So we're actually started out as the world's first ethical hacking degree. And this is taking an offensive approach to cybersecurity. And along with this, we've been ranked #1 in Europe for our video games education for 7 years running. So this puts us among the top institutions around the world for studying programming, design and arts for computer games creation. In the UK, we've been awarded University of the Year for teaching quality, and we're also in the UK top 10 and Scotland top 3 for student satisfaction. And this is voted by our students. So coming straight from the student feedback. And so it's really something we're very proud of.
Thanks, Finn. So to give you a bit of an introduction to computing and technology at Abertay, our focus is really vocational. So all of our courses really support students with developing the right skills to be working in the field of technology and that kind of industry. It's kind of important to differentiate between more theoretical type courses that might be much more lecture and science based, kind of less hands-on and less practical. Ours are very much have a practical approach to them. So our degrees are really aimed at the current job market, and they give students real life background knowledge and job related skills. We try to recruit academic staff from industry to make sure that we provide up-to-date knowledge from the work environment, as well as cutting edge research topics for our research students to be involved with. All of our classes are very hands-on and practical focused. Of course, the theoretical element is covered in lectures, but the vast majority of our assessments throughout all of our programmes are based on students doing something practical, which means the skills developed through the modules will give you the right skills to start working in that industry. We have kind of an open plan studio approach, particularly within our games courses, but across all of technology really, which cultivates interdisciplinary study. And this means our students get to work together either with students from their course or out with that with other courses as well. So for example, at undergraduate level, our 4 games programs, the students all work together on group projects in that. Our MSc Computer Games Technology students actually work with some of our undergraduate ones, and they take more of a lead in the project role. So there's lots of interdisciplinary and collaborative work going on. There's plenty of computing labs and workspace around the university for all of our students across the school, so you'll never be without access to computing. Postgraduate level, there's also additional resources available for you as master students, and there's you wouldn't believe, as a small university that Abertay is, the amount of open space we have to work on computing type programs and all the computer labs that are available. It's definitely not in short supply. To give you a bit of information, School of Design and Informatics, as we've been referencing, within the school we have 3 focus areas, and these are cybersecurity and computing, games, technology and maths, and games, art and design. We've been a centre of excellence for games education for quite some time now, and more recently we've been awarded Academic Centre of Excellence status by the National Centre for Cybersecurity, and this is at the gold standard level, which is not something many UK institutions can offer. So really, if you're coming to study with us in any of these areas, you're getting top quality teaching. So the first of those focus areas gives our degree programs in ethical hacking and cybersecurity. As Finn mentioned, it gives an offensive approach to cybersecurity, a lot of our hacking focus, and we were the first university to offer these kinds of degrees. We've got the Net Lab and the Hack Lab facilities on campus for these students, which are designed to enable a combined lecturing and laboratory practical work approach to teaching. These labs have an isolated reconfigurable network and a dedicated internet connection, so it means our students can experiment with all the aspects of ethical hacking in a safe and controlled environment, i.e. they're not going to bring down the full university server and system, which obviously is key for us. And careers in this area really vary. Some students might go down a programming route, so going to become a programmer within a tech company or within another large organisation. Some consider more networking and web development focused roles, and those particularly from hacking or cybersecurity may look at roles around penetration testing, security analysis, and information security policy. So there's really a wide range of jobs under that bracket. Obviously, at master's level, you're doing something a bit more specialist. You are looking at honing your perhaps computing or programming background skills to a particular industry. So you are very likely to go and work within that industry. But it also goes without saying that many of our students, even if they're on one of our games programs or a hacking program, they still might go and work in something more general around computing because they are still getting those core programming skills. And we're going to talk in a bit more detail about each of those master's programs that we offer. But there's the full list for you. You can see we've got a wide range of programs across undergraduate and postgraduate courses in this area.
Perfect. So to build on that, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the academic industry collaboration that we have here on campus at Abertay. So all 3 areas within our School of Design and Informatics are fast moving, with expertise changing year on year, if not quicker. So we work very closely with industry partners to ensure that the skills and knowledge given to students are the most relevant and the most current. So this means that Abertay has a number of fascinating partnerships with companies like Sony, Microsoft and Amazon, and we're working with them and their technology to provide that student experience and expose students to practical tools. Emma's already mentioned that the MSc and a couple of our other programs are also accredited by the professional body in that industry, and that means that they have actively taken part in the creation of those, and they recognise them as some excellent ways for graduates to move into industry. This also ensures that our kit is up to date in terms of working with really quite advanced companies and making sure that students have access to all the relevant software and technology whilst during their studies. Across these courses, there are a number of opportunities to work with these types of companies and other industry executives on a multidisciplinary team-based projects, often working towards project briefs set by our industry contacts and partners and giving students direct engagement with companies. Dundee is a city, is very dynamic, and with new companies opening up and investments in the city greatly benefiting students studying in these fields. And we'll talk a little bit more on this briefly, in a moment. In every corner of the world, you will find an Abertay graduate in a tech company or a games company. So it's really great to see how far our graduates are reaching. And we also get their feedback from companies as well about how quickly our graduates are learning and developing.
So just to give you some more kind of clarification about those postgraduate tech courses, and we're going to talk about each one individually straight after this slide, but all 4 of our programs are on offer as 1-year masters, which are full-time on campus, and generally these will start in September and they will end the following September. So it is a full year of study. And generally that's split into 3 terms, where you've got the autumn sort of semester or term, which runs from September to December/January. You've got the spring term, which is January to around May time. And then the summer term, which is one of the main kind of your master's project term, which happens around June to August. And usually final hand-in date is somewhere around the end of August, beginning of September. It varies slightly from year to year. We also offer 3 of those programs as 2-year part-time distance learning. So that's the MSc Applied Artificial Intelligence and User Experience, the MSc Computer Games Technology, and the MSc Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity. And this means you can do this completely remotely. It's designed to fit with students who may want to be continuing to work alongside studying. So there's no obligation to have to come to Dundee for those courses, but obviously it takes 2 years rather than 1. And the professional masters in games development is slightly different. This one is only offered on campus just because of the nature of the course and how much it feeds into that collaborative working really in person at master's level. But we do offer a January start to this program. So you've got the option of starting in September or in January. And now for some more detail on the individual courses.
Perfect. So we're going to talk about one of our brand new masters, the Applied Artificial Intelligence and User Experience, and I'll refer to it as AI and UX, if that's okay. So this is going to be launching in September of 2022. So the first cohort that we have studying this master's well-being attending day, if this is of interest. So we're the first UK university to offer a master's of this field, because what we do is we bring together AI, user experience research, and applied psychology. So as well as gaining a thorough understanding of data and AI techniques, students will explore the theoretical concepts and practical applications. And what that means is, just to break it down further, is understanding how AI, which is obviously artificial intelligence, how that can be made to be most realistic and most alike human behavior, and anticipating human decisions, human behavior, and the psychology around those decisions, and to make it as most an ethical, and to make those responsibilities as ethical as possible. So in the quote I have here that I've taken directly from one of our program leads on this course, and it's on our website as well. So using data and AI to acquired data and psychology, you'll also focus on the ethical responsibilities of developing AI applications. This course has a practical focus and features projects and group work, as well as work placements where possible. So the key sort of targets of this course follow the next 3 bullet points here. So applied psychology and AI principles are merged into sort of an underpinning theory throughout this course. It enriches the data of AI solutions through good practice of user experience, and using data, AI, and applied psychology to inform the design of prototypes. So again, not just looking at the academia and theory, you will be actively working on creating prototypes, testing, reviewing, modifying and testing again. So it's really quite an interesting and fast-paced master's. The topics included do sort of run along the lines of the ones following. So data science, user experience, machine learning and AI, human psychology and applied analytics. And on top of this, you have your master's project. So if there's a key area of this type of basis of AI and user experience that you want to delve deeper into, you will have the full encouragement and support of your supervisor to help you through that in your master's project. So definitely one to keep an eye on in the next year. And I'm going to also talk about our Masters in Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity. So we have run this Masters for a number of years now. It's actually fully certified by the National Cybersecurity Centre, which is part of the GCHQ, a very well-known, massive cybersecurity headquarters in the UK. This Masters develops skills and a mindset needed to tackle the growing threat of computer hackers. So it merges the aspects of ethical hacking and cybersecurity, and creates a really quite offensive approach to sort of the global demand. This master's will put you in the ideal position to pursue a successful and often lucrative career. And the industry is currently experiencing a massive skills gap and a major global demand for ethical hackers. Now, the ethical part is the important part. If you aren't aware of what this is, and I'm sure many of you are, the ethical part is being invited to hack a company with permission. So please don't do it without permission from the company. This is so the companies can gain a better understanding of where the flaws in their system exist, how they can be exploited by hackers, and ultimately how they can be fixed. So this is where the expertise and the professional element of this course comes in. I'm going to read out another quote because I think it's really good in summing up exactly the ethos of this degree. So this is aimed at computing and IT graduates. Our MSc in ethical hacking and cybersecurity covers a wide range of subjects, including penetration testing, digital forensics, information security management, malware analysis, port scanning, buffer overflows, and password cracking. Our research active teaching staff are at the forefront of new developments and allowing the program to evolve and cover the latest techniques and guidelines. So it's a well-known secret within the university that the lecturing staff and the academics that work on this degree and teach our students are actively involved in cybersecurity risks going on in the world. It may be that they actually have to leave campus and take a few days out and teach remotely because they're actively working on real-time threats. So you are going to get the best of the best experience and all the juicy gossip about what's happened, and possibly work on potentially not real-time issues, but definitely real-life briefs and projects from typical scenarios that are happening. So we're the only university in the UK to offer a master's program in ethical hacking. And I can't quite remember the exact ranking, but we're in the top 10 worldwide ranking for this master's. So again, you know, our students are highly sought after and often poached, which is great. So in terms of what we want is to change the way that you view cybersecurity and adopt an offensive approach. And the best way to do this and the best way to beat a hacker is often being able to think like one. So you are actually given a little bit of that human behavior and psychology insight in order to understand the aim of the hacker. Why are they doing this? What do they want to exploit? What is their end goal? And that will then enable you to enforce the best procedures possible and the best systems possible to sort of mitigate these issues. Topics include the following: so computer security, digital forensics, information and network security management, ethical hacking, engineering resilient systems, and of course your final master's project. Just like the AI and user experience one, if there's an area that you're really keen to follow and to focus your research on, we will give you all of the tools, the space, the systems, and the expertise to support you in that. So it's something that will be discussed from pretty much week one of your master's to start thinking about it. And then the action sort of continues from there.
Okay, and on to our games programs now. So similarly to the hacking and cybersecurity program, the MSc Computer Games Technology course is something that is designed for graduates from a computing related background. So whether that's computing, computer science, computer engineering, you know, there's so many different degree titles out there. As long as it's something relevant to computing and computer science, then you are likely to be eligible for this kind of program. And as we've mentioned, our postgraduate games courses are ranked in the top 10 in the world and are the best outside of the United States, according to the prestigious Princeton Review, which, if you go and have a look on that, gives you a whole host of great games education providers. So it's great for Abertay to be ranked up there with among the best. And obviously having a qualification from a institution such as Abertay really is globally recognised and will support you with going and working in any kind of games industry, whether that is the really large companies such as Rockstar North, Ubisoft, Sony, or whether you're more interested in working for some of the smaller indie, as we call them, independent studios, of which there are many around Dundee and within the UK. So I'll read out the quote here as well from academics, but with strong industry links and the opportunity to work on real team projects, you'll benefit from developing the skills and expertise essential to computer games companies, as well as building your own network of contacts in this exciting industry. So as you've mentioned around working with industry, although within a one-year program, we're not able to offer, a work experience module or placement, owing to the short time that you're on the program, you are involved in project work, which is typically working for a company who've put a brief into the university that they want working on by a team of students. So the kind of work experience that you get in this respect is having that direct liaison with a company to work towards their brief, whether that's building a prototype of a game or coming up with a new idea, or if they've got a problem they want solving using games. And that could be anything. We've got lots of students who are involved with kind of healthcare and looking at how we can use healthcare kind of practices. So that might be something to do with the technique that patients have to practice and how we can put that into a game type scenario. I'll talk a bit more. We've got a specific example on that later on of something that our students have worked on. So really, games is such a wide-ranging type area, and it's not just necessary I'm going to go and work in the games industry. Of course you can do that, as Finn mentioned. Go and have a look at any games company around the world. You're very likely to be finding an Abertay graduate there, but there's so many different areas that you could be working in as well. So our Computer Games Technology Masters is designed around 5 key themes. As I've mentioned, it is designed for students who are coming from a computer science background. So we do look for that level of programming and software development that you will already have from that kind of bachelor's degree. And then we're focusing that around games and programming. So the 5 key themes are games production and design, games programming, professional knowledge, programming specialism, and research. And as Finn mentioned, the master's courses all offer an individual master's project, and usually it's that in that summer term. The professional knowledge is also something that's really key. As I've said, we recruit our academics who work in this industry still, so they may be teaching at Abertay, but also working in as a freelance designer, producer, programmer, or anything within the games industry. And really that professional knowledge is something that is key to bring to this master's program, because if you're coming from a background in computer science or computing, you want to make sure not just that you're getting the skills, but that you can learn about the industry, how you are expected to work in that industry and behave, how it all works entirely, so that you know as soon as you finish this master's, you are ready to work in a games company. And that is something that we really impress upon our students across our games programs, is making sure they are ready for that. And whether, as I say, that's going to work in some of the bigger companies, Rockstar North, Ubisoft, we have students who set up their own games companies as well, even coming from our undergraduate programs where students have worked in teams and they've got a game, they stay on together, they form a company, and we have that support at Abertay to do that. We have a really great student enterprise centre called Bell Street Ventures, and they are great at helping students out with all the kind of legal stuff that you need to know that comes along with setting up a company, and it's so useful. So that's something that can be supported. I know someone has asked questions about post-study work, and I'll talk a bit about that later, but that's something that we would certainly support, and especially in this kind of area, whether it is you want to get a job in a company or start your own company. And then slightly different approach that we have within the professional masters in games development. This course is much broader. It's not limited to students from a computing or computer science background. We look for students from a wide range of areas. So that could be within art, design, coding, programming, anything that may be related to games, sound, audio as well. Or you don't specifically have to have a games background. You know, your art could be more animation, 3D design, and we will support you with honing those skills into the games industry area. But this master's is kind of like the master's version of all of our undergraduate programs put together. So we've got students who are coming in as game artists, game designers, and programmers, and we pick our student cohort each year to make sure we've got a good spread of expertise across all the relevant roles that come within games design, so that you can work together as teams and create games as part of this course. The programme is again split into those 3 terms, and essentially in each term you'll be working on a different kind of project with a different size team. Typically this might be starting off with a team of 3 or 4 of you, so quite a small team working on something slightly more basic. And then you'll increase that team size in the next project, maybe 6, 7 or 8 people, going on to a larger team, sometimes 10 to 15 students working on a really large project together, which means that you get the right experience for going to work in any size company, whether that's going to start your own game studio or work for one of the small independent studios, or you're going to work in one of the huge companies and be amongst a really large team. You get that experience across all levels. And I'll read the quote for this one as well. Get set to develop core skills through applied project work, supported by experienced games industry practitioners. Enhance your skills in interdisciplinary communication and collaboration through teamwork with students and staff from other areas of games development. So as I've mentioned, we really focus, as we did with the previous course as well, on that professional knowledge, understanding how the games industry works, as well as honing your skills, your technical skills in those areas. So learning how to communicate with others and what the kind of expected level of that is, and collaboration, as well as getting that experience in the different size teamwork. So there really is that strong focus on professional development and practice. We'll also support you with developing your portfolio. So if you are going on to apply for jobs from this course, you've already got, 3, maybe 4 different projects that you'll have worked on, which you can add to your portfolio. And it gives you a really good showcase for when you are going to apply for jobs and work in the games industry. Understanding of the concepts and the theories which inform game design. So again, like I've said, you don't have to necessarily come to us with a really strong background in games. There is some of that theoretical element that we will input, and also how to nurture those relationships with other developers, with industry professionals and companies. So really there's that focus on making sure our students are industry ready. And this course particularly, we have a really high proportion of international students on this programme. So you're really mixing with students from all over the world, as well as from the UK. And it gives you those, fantastic opportunities to network, not just with UK professionals and students, but also those internationally.
Okay, so to move over to our research-based postgraduate offering, we do have a number of opportunities to join our research offering, which is either by a Masters by Research, an MPhil or a PhD. Just to give you an idea of what these are in more detail. So Masters by Research is still a 1-year program, but it is Masters driven. So there are no taught modules as part of these. However, we have loads of different subjects that you can choose from, some that range along the research of the topics that we've already discussed, but also into science, business, sport, food science, psychology, everything and anything that we teach at undergraduate level, we can expand into at research master's level. And we also, and they're 1 year full time, sorry. And we also have the doctoral studies in the MPhil and PhD. So an MPhil is 2 years full time, PhD is 3 years full time. And again, that topic range is valid for these ones as well. When you are a research master's student of ours, you will have dedicated space in our graduate school. So it's actually a separate area of the university that you have. So no other students are allowed in here, no undergraduate students, no taught master's students. It's dedicated space for you to study in peace. You have break rooms, desk spaces, kitchens, snacks, everything's provided. But also you are put onto, you are given the opportunity to have teaching opportunities and placements while at Abertay in these roles, as well as attending a beginning to teach in higher education short course. There are placement opportunities in industry, charities or government. There's access to discipline-specific advanced and specialties, laboratories and equipment, state-of-the-art and cutting edge as per all of our different course specialities. And our expert and specialist supervisors are on hand to teach and guide students. So it really is a collaborative approach and you are not left to flounder, you are supported throughout. And also once you're nearing the end or even while you're during your research postgraduate opportunity, there is further funding, application support and researcher exposure in industry. So thinking about your next step and what you want to do, we have teams on board to help support that. So that's probably all I'm going to say on research. I'm going to keep it short and sweet for there.
So to go through the kind of pressing details around entry requirements, and hopefully this will answer some of your questions. that have already been put through. So for all of our postgraduate programs, we are generally looking for a minimum of a good bachelor's degree in a relevant discipline. We have like our standard UK grades, but if you're unsure and you want to check with your specific qualification, then you're best to email it over to Finn with the details, and she can have a look for you if you're not quite sure. The entry requirements do tend to be on our website, so if you do look on the course pages and you can select your country from the international entry requirements, it should give you the minimum grade that we require. But again, we are quite flexible. If you have had time out of education and you've been working in a relevant industry, then we do accept that alongside perhaps a slightly lower degree grade. So when I say relevant discipline, for these courses, as we've mentioned, for ethical hacking and cybersecurity and for the computer games technology programs, this does need to be in computing or a computer science related program. So you do already need to have experience of programming. We look for certain components as well. Again, they're specified on our website. So if you don't have a degree that is in that kind of area, then unfortunately you're likely not to be accepted to this program, because you do need that background. It's not like a start from scratch type thing. It is you've got computing knowledge, you understand the theory and the programming, and this is how we're going to specialize your skills. For applied artificial intelligence and user experience, we accept a much broader range of subject areas. So we're generally looking for a scientific or technical type subject. So that could be any of the sciences, computing, maths, biology, chemistry, physics. We look for students who maybe have a design type thing, but you do need some experience in scripting. So you don't have to have a formal qualification in this. And if you have a degree that's outside a normal kind of computing area and you want to know more about what you could do to up your skills within scripting, again, get in touch with Finn or myself, and we'll happily be able to pass you on that information from the program leader. For the professional masters in games development, as I said, there's a whole range of disciplines we accept in that area. Programming, sound and audio, you're looking in general at those kinds of areas, and if you have a game specialism as well, that would really help. English language requirements, we accept IELTS with an overall score of 6 with no band lower than 5.5. We do accept a whole range of other English language qualifications though, which include the Cambridge exams, TOEFL. We accept online versions of things like IELTS Indicator, TOEFL at Home. We accept Language Cert International, which is another online course that you can do. We don't accept Duolingo. I saw that someone had asked a question about that. So Duolingo is not on our current list. But as I've said, there's other online options, IELTS Indicator, Language Cert, and the like. But again, there's a full list of qualifications on our website. If you search Abertay English language requirements, you will definitely find that page. To talk a bit about tuition fees then, so all of our postgraduate taught masters that we've been speaking about are £17,000. That's the whole fee. If you were doing the part-time version of the course, that's £17,000 still for the full course split over 2 years, so £8,500 per year. For postgraduate research, our fees do range, but typically for computing, games and cybersecurity, you're looking at £14,750 per year. We do require a 50% deposit of 1 year of fees, so the full fees for the masters or 1 year for research programs required before we issue your CAS, which is what you need for your visa. So in this respect, you need to be paying £8,500 as a deposit. The remainder of the fees, less any scholarship you might be awarded, which I'll talk about next, are due at registration before the start of the academic year. So that is the situation with tuition fees. And those are the fees that are confirmed for 2022 start. Those, if you're looking further in the future in 2023 or onwards, you'll just need to wait for them to be confirmed on site. They're usually confirmed about a year before the start of the course, and they don't tend to change hugely. So some information about scholarships at postgraduate level. For our taught masters programs, we do offer a £3,000 award to all prospective new international taught postgraduate students, and this is awarded as a deduction from the tuition fees. So as I'd mentioned, you'd have to pay the deposit of the full amount, 50% of the full amount, and then that scholarship will be deducted from the remainder that you have left to pay. There are some external scholarships that we wanted to highlight as well. The Soltar Scholarship is a scholarship specific to coming to study in Scotland, and it's offered to master's students from certain countries, including India. And this is an £8,000 award. Again, this goes towards your tuition fees, and it's applicable for any of our taught courses, which fall under the brackets of, science, technology, and creative industries there. There's opportunities across the world. One of the main eligibility criteria in this scholarship is that you need to have a minimum of 2 years work experience. So if you're coming straight from a bachelor's degree, you're likely not eligible for this program. But if you've taken a gap of any number of years and you've got some relevant work experience, then it's well worth looking into this scholarship. Usually the deadline for this is quite early on. I believe it's often sometime in November if you're looking for the scholarship for the following September. So if you've missed the boat on that one and you're keen to apply, you might need to wait a year to get the application in. Another thing I'll just touch on quickly, talking about this kind of logistics, is the graduate route, because there's been a few questions about this. So in the UK, our post-study work visa is known as the graduate route, providing you've come to study in the UK. So it's not applicable for students who've studied just online with us. You do have to come study here. The graduate route visa offers you 2 years or 3 if you have done a PhD of time to stay in the UK to work. And you can get support from our careers service in terms of applying for jobs, but you do not have to have a job or a sponsor already before you apply for this visa. So providing you've come to the UK on a student visa and you've completed your course successfully, you'll be able to apply to stay on for a further 2 or 3 years with the graduate route visa. And I'll pass back to Finn to tell you a bit more about Dundee.
I'll just unmute myself. Always do that. I can already see a number of questions coming in, so I'm hoping that we're answering quite a few of these as we go through. However, I do want to get to them, so we'll try and speed this last little section up. So about Abertay sussed out, we're actually quite a small university. We're one of the smallest universities in Scotland, and our total current student number is 4,501. So that is spanning all of our undergraduate and postgraduate and research degrees as well. So what this means is that you get a much more personal approach and a personal learning experience. This is because your classes and tutorials and group projects are smaller. Lecturers know your name and it's easier to meet with them for support. And we also have great feedback from our international students as they find it easier to settle and integrate with their other classmates. So we're all based, all of our campus all of our campus buildings are located around the same location. So we're a city centre campus. And if you stood in the middle, just where this lady's standing on the left-hand side picture and did a 360-degree spin, you would be able to see all of our buildings. We are each large buildings, so there's plenty of space for everybody. But again, they all have dedicated sort of responsibilities as part of our student journey. So on that left-hand side is the front side of the KID building. The KID building is our main learning and teaching building. It's actually massive. There's 5 floors, there's loads of space, there's all of the tech and state-of-the-art facilities that you could want. It houses our science school, our SDI school, which we've talked about today, and our business school as well. The middle picture is the St Bernard King Library. It recently underwent a £4 million upgrade, and it's 4 floors of immaculate space for you to study and get straight into your studies while you're here. On the ground floor, there's a cafe, there's social space, there is Amazon lockers, there's microwaves and hot water taps, so you can just move in really and get completely settled in. And there's also private group study rooms. There's also to help you understand report writing, referencing, anything like that. And on the ground floor as well is our student inquiry zone. So they are known as SES. These are the teams that will be your best friends on campus, really. They'll help you with anything once you arrive. And before you arrive, you have the international team to lean on. And the third picture here is our student centre. And I'm about to talk about a really interesting development that's happening on campus. It's actually really exciting and it's very relevant to what we've been discussing today. So I'll leave that just for a moment. So as the international team, myself and Emma are part of this. We're 6 people in total, and we span the responsibility of all the global regions apart from the UK. We have a number of different areas that you can contact us on over and above email and WhatsApp. We have our Instagram. We have a Facebook group that will be set up each year for you to meet your future classmates and friends. We have an applicant newsletter, and we also have WhatsApp groups. So these have proven really great, especially during COVID, especially while students are really nervous, still anticipating a little bit of I guess, difficulty than normal with the COVID restrictions. However, everything's going very well in the UK, and we're all very safe, and things are going well with our vaccination program. So we're hoping that next year, by the time you possibly join us, everything should be a little bit more back to normal. So move on to the next slide, please, Emma. Amazing. So I jumped ahead and I've already told you about our student number, so 4,501. And the ratio of this from male to female is almost 50%. But as you can see, it's a great split across campus in terms of our male and female ratio of students. And this also takes into account our inclusive and diverse students. So understanding our international to home ratio is really important. So almost a quarter of our students are international students, which is really great. And this is also represented on our nationalities. We've had accounts, currently we're sitting at 59 countries and pushing near to that 60. Again, because we're small, might not be the biggest number of countries as other universities have, but across our campus, this is it's quite visible actually. We're a very welcoming space for all people, different cultures, backgrounds, religions, languages. We really do embrace that diversity. And this is also represented in our faculty and support teams. So you will also be taught by amazing academics that come from all over the world as well. So, I hope that this gives a little bit of a comfort to some students who are a bit wary of moving abroad for international study. Move on to the next one. Perfect. So I want to talk a little bit about Dundee. Dundee is also quite small. We're the 4th largest city in Scotland. It's roughly an hour and a half to all of the other major cities, so Aberdeen, Edinburgh and Glasgow. And we're fast becoming the high-tech hub of Scotland's booming games industry. So not only are we creative, compact and cultured, we're also very well known, and we're creating waves in various different industries that we have present in the city. We're the first UNESCO City of Design, and this is due to the incredible V&A Museum, which is situated on the left-hand side of this picture, opposite the RRS Discovery, which is one of my favourite ships. It has very strong links with Dundee's history, and the tours and exhibitions available to go inside both of these exhibitions are incredible. So we do recommend it as one of your first days in the city. We're one of the most affordable and best cities to live in the UK. And recently we were voted the 2nd funnest city to live in as a student. So that's a bit of a tongue twister there, but we really do have a great reputation for being very friendly, being very student and quite affordable, which is always a good thing to be. In terms of our situation, so we're on the East Coast, but we're also quite far up into the Highlands. So while it's still really easy to get to the cosmopolitan and metropolitan areas of Scotland, you are also on the doorstep of our wonderful beaches, the riverside, the sea, the hills, the countryside, to nature and farmland as well. And we also have beautiful dolphins in the River Tay, which is just situated behind the picture here. A number of projects that we're actively involved in, so Abertay, our partners with, is a 5G hub. So Dundee is the latest 5G hub in the UK. This also means that we have a 5G testbed on campus, which means that any of the gaming and technical research that's undergone in any of the courses that we've discussed can also be run through our 5G testbed for compatibility. So really quite cutting edge there. Some of the latest news and even more developments are coming out about this lately on Twitter and on our Facebook Facebook, Instagram, is our sports arena. So Dundee is going to have a 4,000 seat esports arena for competitive gaming, alongside education and initiatives and various other entrepreneurial ventures in esports. So we're really excited. As you can tell, we're absolutely mad about gaming. So this is really up our avenue and something that we're actively involved in and hoping to push through. Supposed completion is only in the next couple of years. So yeah, quite good. And the cyber quarter. So this is what I wanted to speak about. Just Emma, is there a full slide on this? No, that's fine. Good, cool. So the student centre building, the third building that I had on the last slide there about our campus, this is currently being developed with £18 million into our brand new cyber quarter, and that is the UK cyber quarter. So that's going to be based not only in the city that we're located in, but on our campus. We've already got business up to residents within the completed building. This means that our students who are in the ethical hacking, cybersecurity undergraduates and master's degrees will be actively involved in research and development in this field. So you are going to be working with some of the most interesting and unique companies that are at the cutting edge of advancements in cybersecurity. So something to keep an eye on, something to definitely have a little look at our Twitter about and read our news articles if you're keen to find out more. And this should be completed by February of next year. So by the time you join us, it will be well up and running and ready to welcome you through the doors. Perfect. And so this is just to really sort of zoom out and give you a bit of a better perspective on where Dundee is. So this is the River Tay that you can see. And like I said, we're on the East Coast. And as you can see, we're actually right in the middle of Scotland. So we have a fantastic train network. We have a fantastic bus network. Walking, cycling routes are absolutely rife throughout Dundee and Scotland. Emma and myself are avid walkers, and we've both bagged quite a few Munros. Emma, many more than me, and I'm a keen cyclist as well. So I can tell you that there is loads to do in your time off. There's amazing ways to explore the country and the city itself. And also, if you do want a day out in the cities like Glasgow and Edinburgh, Aberdeen, they're only an hour and a half away by train. And if you wanted to pop down to London or over to Belfast in Northern Ireland, the flights are roughly an hour to an hour and 15 minutes directly from Edinburgh Airport. So super easy to get to, very easy to get around. And again, right in the middle of all the action that we have here in Scotland.
And just a couple of things to finish off with. So I noticed there was a question about accommodation earlier. We do indeed provide student accommodation. And you can see the images above, I think, are all from our Parker House accommodation, which is the central image, which is about a 5-minute walk to campus. Kayla Court, almost 10 minutes. So they are very, very close by. And there's an estimation of the prices per week in GBP as well. But there's also plenty of other options for accommodation if you're not as keen on living in this style of accommodation. Many students go and look for private accommodation. There's other private student accommodation within the city, as well as house shares and flat shares with other students. Obviously, if you're coming over for a master's for 1 year, sometimes it is nice just to have all that set up for you, so you know you're arriving and you're coming straight into our student accommodation, and you will get this organised before you're even coming to the UK. So for us, all of our international and first year or new students are prioritised for places in accommodation and are guaranteed rooms if they apply before the 1st of August. So that's if you're starting in the September. If you're starting in January, then we can provide the support and make sure that you are finding the right kind of accommodation for just that one course that starts in January. But it's well worth having a little look online at what we offer, and it shows you the different types of rooms and the different prices available, as well as the contract lengths for that. And just to finish off with, to tell you a bit about some of our more extracurricular activities and our students. So on the right-hand side here, we've got SI-UK, which is a conference that's organised by the Abertay Hackers Society. So these guys are obviously very linked with our ethical hacking and cybersecurity programmes, but the society is open to any students who are interested in this field, so they don't have to study in that area. And this is a very exciting conference. It's Europe's largest student-run information security conference. They bring in a whole host of different companies and guest speakers. They have a full kind of exhibition fair area where there's a lot of networking going on. I know many students who have found a job through this event as well, and really made those connections with colleagues in industry. So it's a great opportunity for attendees to come and look for jobs. We also get people attending from outside the university, you know, from outside the UK as well. I've met people who've come to this conference who have flown in to come to it especially, which is fantastic. On the bottom left here, we've got the DARE Academy. So this is an annual competition run within our School of Design and Informatics for teams of students to build and polish an industry standard game. So typically each year they open it up to applications from teams of students. 6 teams are shortlisted and they get to spend a month in the summer, usually in July, working on their game. They're given a working budget for this. They have support and mentoring from leading industry professionals. The whole academy thing is sponsored by a number of different companies, both locally and nationally, more involved in game. SI-UK, the largest games expo in the UK, usually takes place in sort of September, October time, where they get to showcase their games. So they're meeting and networking with industry leading names who get to come and see their games and see what they've made, which is incredible for them. And then from the judging panel, they announce the winner. And there's a prize every year. It varies from year to year. Sometimes it's an amount of money. Sometimes it's we've had a trip to the game design conference in San Diego before. It really varies, but it's such a great experience for the students to be involved in. And then finally, the top left, this is what I was mentioning around our game students being involved in healthcare. So this shows a game produced by Conglomerate Games, which is an Abertay student-run company, the CEO of which graduated last year from one of our bachelor's degrees. And they specialize in developing healthcare-focused games to improve lives. So they've had games created that include use by children with cystic fibrosis to practice their airway clearance techniques. And this has been used in a clinical trial to monitor the effect it has on patients' development. So they're using specialist medical equipment and linking them in with a game, as you can see in the image. More recently, I think in 2020, they won the top prize of £30,000 at the annual Santander University's Entrepreneurship Awards, which will hugely support them with developing their games further. So we like to give our students all of these opportunities outside of their studies to still engage with different areas of industry, to pursue, you know, the kinds of projects and the roles that they want to. So that brings our presentation to an end, and we are going to go through all of your questions now. So if you do have any further questions, if we've not covered it, please do put them into the chat box. Finn, as she has mentioned already, is our main contact for students applying from India and South Asia, as well as the Middle East and North Africa. So if you have a specific individual inquiry that will be worth some one-to-one attention, then please do get in touch with Finn. She'll be the best person to go for. But if we start off with the questions, Finn, do you want to take number 1?
Sure. So I think we've actually answered the question, just to reiterate, in case anybody has missed it, is do you provide internships and part-time job assistance during the course? So we've mentioned internships. The way that we combat this is because we have a lot of on-campus action with industry executives and our partners. So we don't provide internships because that experience will be gained on campus. As per your visa, you will be able to work in the UK for 20 hours per week during your studies. You can't get a full-time job while you're studying full-time, but you can you can work for 20 hours. We do have some support available for careers, no problem. However, Dundee being a very student-centered city, there are loads of places the work being. I would like to reiterate that during your studies, we do not recommend trying to do a full-time job in 20 hours. So it would be recommended that you work during retail, hospitality, any kind of volunteer organizations that you can still earn from, that type of thing. Or if you want to do something in line with your degree, you're more than welcome to reach out to the games companies or the cyber companies that we have in the area. So yes, you are more than welcome to work while you study here. I just want to take the second one as well. The second one is, does admission for masters require 16 years of education or 15 years? So this is a little bit confusing because for our masters, you must have completed your high school levels of education and also be able to provide a UK equivalent degree, which is an honours degree in a relevant subject, as Emma went through in the entry requirements. So 15 or 16 years could up to your high school plus an undergraduate degree. But if you could reach out to me with further information on that, my email address is f.hackwood@abertay.ac.uk, as is on the screen. I can be a bit more clearer on that. So I'll pop over to Emma for the next one, which I think we've actually already answered.
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of that, we don't specify you must have done X number of years of education. As Finn says, really we're looking for you having the relevant bachelor's degree. So if you've got a bachelor's degree, send over any details to Finn, or if you're about to complete this year, and she'll be able to advise on that. Yeah, we have covered the next one already. So we do require IELTS or an equivalent qualification, but we don't accept Duolingo. I'll talk a little bit about the admissions process on the next question. So for the professional masters in games development, and for all of our masters programs that we've spoken about, the taught masters, the application is made online. So if you go to our website and you find that course, there's an apply now button on every single course page, which you're able to then start your application. You don't have to complete it all there and then. You can save it. You have to make an account and you can save it and come back to it. So worth getting started. The main elements that you need to include, obviously, are your personal details of your education, any kind of work history, as well as a personal statement. So that's your statement of motivation, why you want to come onto the course, why you think you're a suitable candidate, and also a reference from an academic or a professional who knows you in a professional capacity. And do make sure you ask them and give them plenty of time to submit that. Make sure you ask them before they are requested to send that. The additional difference with the professional masters in games development is we do ask for a portfolio of evidence. And this is in kind of whatever field or discipline that you are applying from. So where, as I said, that's art, design, code, programming, sound and audio. It's quite a free and open kind of portfolio of evidence, but typically you'll need to provide, I think it's up to 10 either images, links to something you've done. If you've got kind of an online version of a portfolio, it doesn't, as I said, doesn't have to be completely games related, but if you've got animation and art and some of that's around character design, then that stuff would be really relevant. If you're doing programming, then examples of some of the projects that you may have worked on through programming would be useful as well. And then once you send that off, it's looked over by our admissions officer for the course and by the program leader, and they will get back to you with a response. It sometimes takes slightly longer for that course because of the portfolio consideration. Finn, I'll pass back to you for question 5.
Sure. So the next one is about helping to find jobs in the UK after graduation. That I've already mentioned during the studies, and Emma very kindly was talking about the graduate route. So on top of you being able to stay in the UK for 2 years after studying any of our master's courses that we've mentioned today, or 3 years if you do a PhD, the graduate route allows you to stay for an additional 2 years to find work or to actively undertake employment. This means that you do not need to worry about your new employer sponsoring your visa. We cover all of that. And on top of that, we have a fantastic careers service who are currently putting in place a new series of workshops that you'll be able to attend during your studies, which will hopefully give you some confidence and some expertise and some understanding and information on how to apply, where to apply, how to interview, what your CV needs to look like, business etiquette in the UK, various other things that are really important. This question also mentions, especially in MSc Computer Games Technology. I would like to clarify even more so than before, our graduates are highly sought after in this industry. We have no problem with our graduates finding positions, and that's at undergraduate level and postgraduate level. Now, of course, it does depend on what you're interested in, but if you're looking at the conventional routes into computer games creation, any of the startups or businesses we have here, if you're looking to start your own company and secure funding, we have examples of that being very, very popular and very, very successful. And also our lecturers have such a great network grasp that when you are given these networking opportunities, our lecturers will introduce you to someone who is probably on the same mindset or giving you an opportunity in that area. So yes, full support is available. In terms of the average age of students studying, the next bit on the next question about the post-study work visa we've just talked about, so I won't go over it again. The average age is actually really hard to determine because every is different, and at postgraduate level, ages can range from roughly sort of mid-20s after an undergraduate typical age, right up to your mid-30s and into 40s, and again across an international spectrum. So you will be studying with students of various different experience and backgrounds, but equally with the same sort of passion and interest as you. So actually this enriches your experience. Please don't be worried about if you're older or looking to change careers or narrow that career down after having experience in a relevant industry. It's something that we would welcome you with open arms. It would be great to have a conversation with you. So any concerns, any more finite questions that you have around this, whoever's asked this question, please reach out to me by email. I'd be more than happy to provide a bit more detail, or just give some reassurance if that's what's needed. We've talked about the prior game development experience.
Sorry, Finn, can I just jump in?
Computer games technology. Sure, absolutely.
So I was just going to say, it's also good to remember as well that, we've talked a lot about the collaborative work and things in terms of average age. And, it's something that everyone has to get used to, is working from people from a wide range of backgrounds, regardless of their age as well. So as Finn says, we're used to welcoming in students of all kinds of backgrounds. At undergraduate level, certainly we have a number of students who come in kind of later in life, shall we say, as what might be termed as a mature student. So we do have a whole range, but yeah, in terms of when you're working together with people, it's a great opportunity to have people with different experiences and perspectives. So we really do welcome students to be applying at any stage of their life.
Perfect. Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Emma. So thank you for that. Do you need prior game development experience for the MSc Computer Games Technology? We've talked about this, and so hopefully that answer ready. We've also talked about the housing facilities available for students through the university. So we have currently 4 different accommodation options for is it 2? Sorry, currently. Yep. So sorry, we've gone through a little bit of an accommodation change. We have 2 accommodation areas, which is 2 fantastic residences that we've talked about. You can also look at private accommodation. We have support for this as well. That's if you're wanting to go down the private renting route in Dundee. So there's options there. Employability rate for the MSc of Applied Artificial Intelligence and User Experience. So as I mentioned, this is a brand new course for next year. So we don't have any current data of graduates because we haven't run the course yet. So this course has been generated through a huge amount of demand in this area, a demand for the expertise that our lecturing staff and academics can give to this industry, and the graduates are prepared to move into that. So we have done all of the research and preparation to make sure that our graduates will be very, very easily moved into employment. So we wouldn't be launching a new master's if we didn't already know that the employment options were, quite lucrative and in demand. So I don't have any worries about employability rates, but I just don't have an exact number to give you because we don't have that data yet. So have a look at our web pages on that degree, though there is a lot of different areas of information on that page, and it could maybe shed some light on the possible careers that we would be expecting for our graduates in this area. I will just take the next one because I do get this question quite a lot from other applicants from India. So do we accept students with a gap of 5 years? So this is quite a difficult question to answer because it depends what you've been doing gap. It depends if you mean a gap in education or a gap in employment. If you haven't been doing anything for 5 years, then it is a little bit difficult for us to ascertain your experience. If you have an education gap, however, but you've been undertaking active employment, that's absolutely fine. We would love to know what you have been working on. If the projects are relevant to the degree that you're looking to study, please do get in touch with me for more information. So it depends on the nature of that question. I would say if it's a total gap, as in no employment and no education, that may well be a problem. So we would need to have a further chat about that. However, if you've been working, but you've had 5 years since you've been in education, that's absolutely fine. We would just like to know a bit more about what you've been doing. So in your application, we do have the opportunity to upload a CV. So you can do that as well. I'll revert back to Emma for the accommodation discount and maybe you can accommodation there.
Thanks, Finn. Yeah, I'm not there's no kind of discount for early booking of accommodation. As I said, we have that kind of deadline of the 1st of August, and typically you're not always able to actually book and confirm your place until you've your offer is kind of unconditional with us as well. So that includes, meeting any eligibility criteria, so meeting academic requirements, financial requirements to the deposit payment, and those kinds of things before you can actually officially book and pay for your accommodation. Though I will say, as Finn mentioned, we've got these two fantastic options, which are privately run accommodation options, but we have a certain number of the rooms within them are for Abertay students. So Parker House, one of the larger ones, is majority Abertay students. And actually, if you book through Abertay, you get a discount over what they would charge if you book directly with Parker House. So I would always say it's worth waiting and booking with us anyway. I know it means there's a slightly longer lead-in period sometimes, but it's worth doing that just because it's slightly cheaper for doing that. I mean, you can check with Parker House and with Kayla Court if they offer something like that privately, but I don't think they do. So it's worth looking at that. There's just been a question about kind of a lot of logistical things now. Just one about deadline. We don't have a strict deadline for 2022 intake in September. Just bear in mind that you've got the lead-in time for the application process, as well as, more importantly, the visa process. If you're successful, you need to make sure you've got your deposit paid. We typically need evidence of your funds as well, and that needs to be in the bank account for a 28-day period. So just making sure you get all your documents organized and that kind of thing. We'd recommend applying at least 3 months before the start of the course, if not earlier. For some of our courses, they are very popular and they do get filled up sometimes slightly earlier on. But I say, as a minimum, if you're starting in September, then you want to be applying I'm counting months now, around the 1st of June or before the 1st of June. We get lots of students who apply around February, March, April time. If you've not finished your bachelor's degree, you can still apply. It will just be a condition. If you receive an offer, your condition will be complete your bachelor's degree with X grade or whatever. I think we've answered the things about the scholarships already from the slides. Yes, we do have those scholarships on offer. And if you are not sure, you can always watch it back or have a look on our website. We've also covered the next two, which are a duplicate question. So no, you will need to have a bachelor's degree in computing or computer science to study on the MSc Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity programme. And then just that last one, you can defer your application from September to January, but bear in mind, if you recall the slide we had about all of our courses, we only have that one programme with the January intake, and that's the Professional Masters in Games Development. So only that course can you defer from September to January or start in January at all. The others are all September starts only. I'm not seeing any more questions just yet. If anyone's got any final questions, please do pop them in. I'm aware we have run past the expected end time of 7 minutes ago anyway. But we're more than happy to take any questions. As Finn has said, her email address is up there, f.hackwood@abertay.ac.uk. If you have any questions, if you want to ask about applying, please do get in touch with her. But also you can also get in touch with SI-UK. They are there to help you with your application, to support you with that, and they can check anything out with us as well. I've just seen one final question, or a couple of questions comes in. We have our bachelor's in computing. It's BSc Computing. So the official title isn't Computer Science Engineering, but it obviously does involve a lot of programming. It's a 4-year program in total, and the tuition fees are £15,500 per academic year. We offer a scholarship again of £3,000 per year. So that brings the fee to £12,500 per year. But yes, we do have that bachelor's in computing.
I think that looks like it's it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and for example, if you did that bachelor's in computing, you could then apply to be on any of our master's programs if you wanted to continue and specialize your skills in games, in hacking, in AI. That course would be eligible for entry onto those programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Okay. Well, it sounds like a number of our viewers are watching through YouTube, which is amazing. So I'd like to say thank you so much for everyone who has joined us today. Just to reiterate, I look after all our lovely students from India and the South Asia region, and SI-UK are one of our fantastic partners as well. So any questions that you have, please come to the SI-UK representatives that you've been in touch with, and they can either reach out to me or we can chat as well. So thank you to everybody for coming along. We don't have any more questions popping up, so I think it's probably a good time to finish. Emma, do you want to do the final wrap up if you have anything else to say?
I feel like you've covered it all, Finn, so that's good. But yeah, no, main take back is obviously get in touch with Finn if you are looking at applying or with SI-UK. But thanks very much to SI-UK for hosting this today.
Yes, thank you so much.
And we really appreciate that all of you have been watching and asking all those questions. Just get in touch if you need any clarification on anything.
Thank you so much, Emma and Finn, for your lovely time today and for sharing all the kind words and knowledge with the students. So we are ending this seminar here. Thank you so much for your valuable time again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.